Hey everyone, I'm Domingo Gomez, and deciding between the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the Galaxy S24 Ultra, well, isn't easy. But if you have $1,200 to spend and you're not sure how to do it, don't worry, because in 5 minutes I will tell you which one of these two you should pick, starting with the Galaxy S24 Ultra. This phone doesn't bring any major upgrades compared to last year's S23 Ultra. We still have the same big rectangular design with a titanium build and matte texture that kinda hides any smudges. Its screen is a bit brighter and it still looks phenomenal, but the real standout is the anti-glare finish, which is super useful outside. It also comes with Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor, which is amazing for gaming or any tasks you throw at it. And it packs a versatile camera setup that lets you do just about anything, including recording in 8K at 30 frames per second, something that even the iPhone can't do. And just like with the iPhone 16 Pro Max, this generation doesn't represent a huge evolution, a huge step forward of what we were expecting Samsung to do, and that's why, this is my main critique of the phone. To begin with, we're still stuck with just one size option, and for some people, look, it's just too big to hold with one hand. Charging speeds haven't improved since the S22 Ultra, and even 6 months later, its cameras often lag behind the Pixel 9 Pro or the iPhone 16 Pro Max. You can check this comparison I published a few days ago, but basically, if I had to choose a phone for taking photos or videos, the S24 Ultra wouldn't be my first choice. But even then, I don't think this is the biggest downside of the phone, because in a couple of weeks we will start seeing phones with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4, and only in January, which is like 3 or 4 months ahead, Samsung is also going to present the Galaxy S25 Ultra, so why don't you wait just a little bit more? Now let's change gears and start looking at the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which, there's also not a lot of changes. Now we got new titanium colors and slightly bigger sizes, 6.3 inches for the Pro and 6.9 inches for the Pro Max, with thinner bezels on both. The Pro Max fast charging also improved a little bit to 45 watts, and the wireless charging also went up to 25 watts. The smaller model now comes with a 5x telephoto lens, and both can shoot in 4K 120 frames per second with better quality than Samsung. iPhone photos are also more consistent overall, with great exposure, better details thanks to the export in 24 megapixel, and more natural skin tones in selfies. For video, all of them, they look really good, but the details and the scene balance on the iPhone makes me prefer it slightly more. In terms of general performance, the iPhone improved thanks to its new processor, though it still heats up the same as before, but at least it's more stable now due to a better heat dissipation. I've also noticed a slightly better battery life with the iPhone 16 Pro Max, but it's so minimal that I wouldn't consider it in this comparison. But just like what I said with the Galaxy S24 Ultra, the changes, the improvements of these phones are so minimal that, they don't really feel like a huge evolution. And that's why I think that this phone is more like an iPhone 15s Pro rather than an iPhone 16. Especially when two of its biggest changes are kinda useless right now. Apple Intelligence wasn't even present during launch, and it will arrive late in October as a beta. The new camera control button is not only in a bad spot, but also doesn't really bring anything new. You can use it to open the camera, but that was already possible in several ways without even unlocking the phone. And once you're in the camera, it's harder to use and slower to change some settings. Plus, it doesn't offer all the options available in the screen of the app. As I tell most of my friends, it's a good phone, but a disappointing launch. If I had to choose one of these right now, it will probably be the iPhone, only because of the cameras and the better optimization to some video apps like TikTok, Instagram, and even YouTube. But if I wasn't a content creator, my choice would be the Galaxy S24 Ultra, mainly for its anti-glare display, which is amazing, and because Android is much more open and customizable than iOS. Apple has improved a lot in this regard, but it's still far behind of what you can do on Android, especially when you start considering installing third-party apps that are not on the Play Store. This may change, in the recent future, but right now, Android is much better in this regard. Otherwise, when it comes to performance, design, and even charging speed, the differences are so minimal that you have to focus in other areas, like the operating system and also the ecosystem you're in right now. If you use Windows, different pair of headphones, go for the Galaxy. But if you're already in the ecosystem of Apple with the Apple Watch, the AirPods, and macOS, well, then go for the iPhone. I think that's the easiest and most smart choice. But anyway, this is just my opinion, and if you have a different one or you want to leave any comments, you can do it right there. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.